Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Wiegmann. This week we got Payton Usrey is with us, and he's going to talk a lot about some interesting stuff going on about Beaver Lake and everything from fishing to fish habitat. So we'll jump right into it. Payton's also a fishing guide here on Beaver Lakes. We'll just add that all in, all at once.
That works.
So tell us, there's kind of a project that you've been kind of working on. What's that about?
Trying to establish our local ramps with some cleaning stations, and one of them in particular that needs a courtesy dock.
Right.
So I've been pretty much talking to the Corps and the Game and Fish and getting with them, and it seems like we're finally moving forward. John Stein got back with me and said that he's put some stuff in the budget to get us cleaning stations and a courtesy dock. The main thing has been is first we asked for the grinder stations. We're seeing at all these small lakes, and I'm like, why don't we have one of those here?
Right.
We have.
And tell them what a grinding station is.
It's an entire fish cleaning station. It's got 4 sides, and it's got one center grinder in the middle that goes into a septic tank where you just throw your fish carcasses into that grinder, and it grinds it up, and it's deposited into that tank to dissolve like a normal septic tank would. And it's got a roof, and it's got electric and water, and they're just amazing, beautiful cleaning stations.
And they're concrete.
Yeah, concrete and the stainless table with the fillet boards. The main thing is what we've had issue with is those things are hard to maintain.
Right.
And people non-fishermen probably like to throw cans of stuff in it just to see what it does.
Right.
So that's the hardest setback has been who's going to maintain those machines. And then after talking to John, I was like, well, I don't care if it has a grinder or not. I said, I just want a table,
something to clean the fish.
Yeah, just because we don't have nothing. We're all having to use tailgates now. And, it's my main talking point was, Northwest Arkansas's got money, and I'm going to pitch in the first 1,000 just to get it started. And I'm like, we need to have this. Because everybody comes to me, where are we going to clean? We have nowhere to clean.
And where are the facilities where you're looking at?
I'm trying to get one at Hickory Creek Park. And 412 Bridge.
Right. So and the 412 Bridge is actually an Arkansas Game and Fish Commission property that's down there. So the property's there. They don't even have to ask the Corps probably to build on that. They probably do.
Probably so. But it's like, hopefully now that there's not going to be a grinder, then maybe we can get 2 of them built at each place.
And it'll speed things up too, without having to have a grinder, without having
you just
something down below it.
Do your part to carry your fillets out, or not your fillets, but your scraps. Throw them in the trash,
right?
Which we're doing now anyway. So that's the main thing, because we just got to have something.
And this area of the lake is the best crappie fishing area of the lake too.
That's why I wanted it on this side. I was like, let's not go build it up there at Holiday Island, or Prairie Creek. I said we need it here. We have nothing.
That's right.
So
yeah, this is definitely the area for that. So that's good.
And the main thing with the courtesy ramp at 412 is it's all rock, and our elderly generation of fishermen can't launch there very well without getting hurt. It's just too much rock for them. I've already heard of 2 broken legs, so I'm like, we've got to do something
down at 412.
Yeah,
412. That they definitely need something there.
Yeah,
they'll have to have something that they can move pretty quickly, and something that's probably not as that's more built into the ground or anything, because that actually can cover the parking lot when the water comes up.
It can, yeah.
We're quite happy right now, because as we look out over the lake, it's the lake's down.
It is,
I guess you could say, because it's not up. So 2000, I think it was 2005. I think is when they had the big flood where War Eagle Mill. It almost. I don't know if it went over the bridge, but I happened to actually see like something on Facebook, and it was showing the water was just like hitting the
second floor. Yeah,
it was right in there on the bridge, though. Like it was just like any log that came got hung up right on the bridge.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's something they can do in the future, make that a walking bridge and then put a real bridge in somewhere and maybe somewhere down
that's
the
a great
road
destination for anglers too. So
that's exactly right. So that gets us going on that. Tell us how the fishing's gonna how the fishing's going to roll out for the next couple months.
I think this year is going to be some of the best crappie fishing we've ever had by looking at our fish that have spawned. The numbers we're seeing with, the new live scope and live imaging sonars. I mean, we're seeing just thousands of fish. I'm going up to boat docks, and I guarantee there's 1,500 plus fish under some of these boat docks. You might get 3 or 4 to bite before they realize something's going on, but that helps sustain the population. You just got to go to the next spot. But I'm just seeing huge numbers of fish, and they're good. They're fat.
And you say that the other day I posted on Sonar Fishing Fanatics, which is a Facebook page I run that's on electronics, and there was American fish tree that was hanging down from it, and it's probably yours. Mm-hmm. I didn't put the location, but
that's good.
But if you send me enough money,
Dropbox right here.
We'll tell you where they were, but it's actually sitting there up just north of here, and it shows. What I didn't show was the first 2 I caught. Mm-hmm. They came off, and they came off. They shot out of that tree and came, and then the third one I was like, oh man, I need to record this because this is cool. So then I put the recorder on, the one comes out there and just kind of looks at it and follows it all the way. And then I just slowly reeled it up, see if how interested he was. But what do you do when that's a good question. What do you do when they follow it on a live scope, but you can't get them to commit to get that strike?
So I've been having to downsize for those. I mean, going to, we call it an itty bit.
Right.
Baby shad or a slab hunter for Bobby Garland's arsenal of baits, but that's what we've been having to use. And then sometimes use a funky color. Like it'll be clear, perfectly clear water, and you use a blood minnow.
Wow.
It's just something you wouldn't think to throw with a pink head, or just something awkward.
Have you thrown that mayfly?
Oh yeah,
you got a new one. What's that called?
It's the Bobby Garland mayfly, and
it is called mayfly.
Yeah, and it comes in its own packaging with scent.
Right.
So.
And you like that?
I do like it a lot.
And what kind of head? How big a head are you using on that?
You can use a 1/64 or a 16th.
Oh.
And we're going to be pitching them in the spring on Roman crappie too.
Roman crappie.
So we'll probably put them on a 1/8 ounce head, even.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 1/8 and 1/4. I mean, it just depends on how we have to throw it at them.
So boat docks are going to be good. Kind of lay it out when you're going to catch your roamers first.
No, so
how does the season
our
go?
white crappie really haven't started migrating yet. It's something I have figured out over the years. So we have white crappie that come up from the big end of the lake.
Oh, really?
And because I call it the great crappie migration because they'll be big ones.
Really?
And lots of them. And but right now, while this water's cold, I tend to lean more towards the black crappie. And right now, you can catch black crappie, obviously, around boat docks, pole timber, half zone, and laydowns. We even catch them with a bobber right now around laydowns.
Really?
Our black crappie love cold water, and they'll come up shallow. Sometimes I'll come to a boat dock, and I can see them all, 6 to 12 inches under the surface just sitting there sunning.
Right.
So, and that's a perfect time to pitch a bobber in there.
Right. Any certain color bobber?
I like the black one. You know that. I like to match.
I was wondering
the
if you're gonna give your little secret.
Oh yeah, there. I don't like them looking at the bobber. So if you have an orange bobber and
right,
certain color bait, I don't want them looking at the bobber. So you want the old black bobber.
That works out pretty good.
It does. It does. So when you learn how to pitch them in there, that's even better.
Right, and so you're fishing those before the migration. So you're fishing a lot of boat docks, standing timber.
Yep.
What else do you have? What happens after when the migration starts? Then what are you
usually
focused
about
on? What area?
Into January and February. Right now, I'm focused on mid lake because that's where all them big black crappie come up. Right now, they come up mid lake in that clear water. They're not really getting messed with because all of our normal crappie fishermen are still down here on this end.
Right.
The river rats is what they like to be called. So I go up there and, all them black crappie that haven't been messed with all year are up feeding. So it's easy pickings, what I call it. But about into January into February, then we start seeing a lot of these big white crappie start moving up. And I will actually start seeing them up there roaming first.
Right.
And then they'll work their way into Horseshoe Bend and Montanay, and then they'll continue up the river. And then Hickory Creek will just go, Hickory Creek, or Big Hickory, as it's called. Right. It'll just go crazy. One day they won't be nothing in there. Next day you go in there and there's just thousands of them.
Tell us about roamers. What are they? In case people aren't crappie fishermen, they don't know what roamers are.
we call them roamers now because we're out there with live imaging sonar, seeing individual, or I like to call wolf packs, 4 or 5. And they're usually big crappie, and all they're doing is running around feeding like white bass. I mean, they're just going through schools of shad and eating anything they can find. So and we call them roaming because it's just like they're doing nothing but just swimming around. So that's why we kind of call them roamers.
Right.
So we can individually target those fish with live imaging and pitch on them and get those fish to react and bite our baits.
So what are you pitching? What are you using for a rod to pitch to them?
I use a B&M brush cutter.
Okay.
And that's what it's called. It's a 10 or 12 foot.
Right.
And then I'm also using the new B&M Crappie Wizard rod. And a lot of guys are liking the 14 and 16 footers, but it hurts my arm trying to pitch out there all day. So I like a shorter pole for that. So usually 6 to 10 foot pole is what I use.
I got you.
Most of the time.
And line, what are you using for line?
8 pound.
8 pound.
Yep.
Monofilament, high vis.
Yeah. No, not high vis. I don't like high vis. I like the low vis green.
Oh, all right.
That's my go-to. I use low vis green year round. So I tried braid for a while, but I got tired of it tangling at the tip. So, but
that's what I hear. I like braid.
I do too, but it's frustrating when when it's in a knot. It's in a knot.
Yeah.
So
it kind of takes you away from fishing time.
Yeah. I'll have 3 poles back there knotted up. I finally have to take a break. So, but yeah, them roamers should. I mean, I know they're already catching some up here around Oregon Marina. I've been hearing that. So But I call them the ones that live here year round. So
that's right. They don't. Yeah,
they're your normal, 10 to 12 inchers.
And they look different on the graph, don't they? Compared to like white bass and stuff, picking them out, right?
Yeah, they look little footballs. Is what they look like to me. So it depends on how you're angled on them with your imaging.
Right.
But when you start seeing them big footballs, that's when you know them 14, 16 inches are up here now.
Right. And don't be confused if 30 or 40 of them come in all at one time. Those might be white bass.
And what's cool is, sometimes you'll see black crappie school up like that, and they'll be big ones.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's the cool deal when they're roaming. I think that's fun. Then after roamers, what are you going to go to? Then what are you targeting?
So I would say about into April, May, then roamers start moving back towards Horseshoe Bend. Back to the main lake, so we pretty much chase them all the way back on pole timber.
Right.
And then Greg, he likes to target them with crankbaits.
Right.
So I mean that into April, May is crankbait time.
That's right. We're getting into that.
Yeah, they'll start feeding on them bluegill and stuff.
Right.
So.
And then pole timber, good example. Eden's Bluff has pole timber.
Eden's Bluff's always
a
good.
Good example of what if you're looking for a spot in general, the south end of Eden's Bluff, and then going around the corner there's another bluff. I don't know if that has
all around Horseshoe Bend, all the way up through Joe's Creek. I mean, it's never ending. It always replenishes itself.
Yeah,
you can't catch them all.
Yeah, and they stock some too.
Yeah, we're working with Game Fish on that. I'm going to try to do that again this year and get a bunch of these big females up there again. Because that first year we did it, we took all these Roman females and they spawned out over 500,000.
Crappie population, fantastic.
Oh
right
man,
now. Phenomenal on Beaver Lake. And some of that has to do with the high water we've had like past 5 years. So I'm not betting against we don't get high water.
Yeah,
I mean we just hadn't got it yet.
Oh, I'd love to see it all in the bushes for the whole spawn. It seems like every year, right when they're starting to spawn, it gets drained down. So a year in the bushes would be really good too.
I'd never put it past Mother Nature has more of a play on that or not. So
I think it was 08 or 09 when we could go up in War Eagle and just hold it down over the buckbrush.
Right.
And they just slam it. So
that's when it gets really up there. It gets there really far. So but and then by then you're back into the summer pattern in there.
And that summer pattern of the fish on pole timber will last all summer.
Right.
They will be on that. There'll still be some roaming and stuff out here, but
I'm one of those guys that like crankbaits. I like trolling crankbaits. That's
keeps you cooler.
Yeah, it keeps you cooler. It gives you lots of stuff to do.
Yeah.
Because it's always, the action's pretty good. And actually, I just go out of the marina. I just start. I don't have to go very far.
Yeah.
I can be fishing already.
Well, and you can catch everything, too. It's out there, even not on purpose. I mean,
that's right. I don't like catching those big catfish when they get in there and tangle all the other rods. But
break all your hooks.
Break all your hooks. Yeah, that's right.
Slime the line.
Well, that takes us up to Tackle Time. Tackle Time, sponsored by PICO Lures. PICO Lures has a complete line of hard and soft baits. You can check them out online. They have everything. Catch catfish, crappie, walleye, bass, white bass, stripers, everything that swims on beaver, pretty much.
Yep.
You can catch them on that, so you can check them out there. We'll put a plug in for American Fish Tree. Matt does a good job. And Payton does his task of sometimes putting them some places out there in the water. So,
yeah, you'll find them on Boat Dogs for sure.
That's right.
That's the best place for them. You only need one, too. It'll attract all of them.
That's right. So you can check his stuff out, too. So that's good stuff. Payton, if they wanted to find out more about your guide service, where would they go to?
Payton Usrey Fishing on Facebook.
All right.
You can also message me with any questions you have about Beaver Lake.
Yep. And also, how about the fish cleaning stations? John Stein's a good contact.
Yeah, or Benjamin Batten at the Little Rock office.
Okay. So check them out. Arkansas Game and Fish Commission is their thing. I think it's just
AGFC.com.
Yep. And so you can check that out there. So
real good folks.
Yep. So do that. Make sure you check out Payton. And like I always like to end the show, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.